Hi, welcome. So today I'm going to be talking to you about birthstones. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at my reference book. We're going to be using this book today as reference for images for the different birthstones. Now, I'm only a geologist. I'm not familiar with the spiritual meanings of a lot of these stones, but I can tell you a little bit about the science, so hopefully you will enjoy hearing about that today. So, to begin, we're going to start with talking about birthstones as a concept. So, birthstones became prominent in the Victorian era. You can see all the different birthstones are here. I'm going to be talking a little bit about each one today, just a short overview. And so you can see that the birthstones are in a variety of cuts and shapes and colors. So I'm going to be going over each one of them, talking a little bit about the science and a little bit about each type of stone. So I'm going to be doing them in the order they appear in this book, which is not the month order, but it makes it a little bit easier to digest this way. So our first stone is one of the most well-known stones. Our first stone is diamond. Now, diamond is the birthstone for the month of April, and diamond is one of the most popular stones. It's considered by many to be the most precious stone, and you can see here that the most common form of diamond are these clear diamonds in this round, brilliant cut. However, diamond is also found in several other colors, including yellow diamond, blue diamond, as well as red diamonds. There are other diamonds that are not shown here, such as chocolate diamonds, which have come into fashion with certain jewelers in recent years, as well as a pink diamond, which is very rare. This one is from Tanzania. Now, stones get their color based on the presence of other minerals. So, for example, this yellow diamond here gets its yellow color from minute amounts of nitrogen within it. So this particular yellow diamond is from South Africa. And so you can see that the presence of a lot of other small minerals, small amounts of minerals I should say, creates different colors in these stones. And the clear diamonds are often the most valued. Many jewelers consider colored diamonds to be lesser diamonds due to the inclusion of other minerals in their system, so clear diamonds are often the one that are the most sought after. Now you can see, I'll use diamond for an example because it's easy to show it in this. Now you see this sparkle is called fire, and fire is the amount of these other colors and the reflectiveness of these different stones and what's present in the diamond itself or other gem. So this is a round, brilliant cut diamond. You can see over here that diamonds are popular in a whole host of shapes. You have a round brilliant, an oval brilliant, sort of a teardrop shape, a step cut, a marquise, and a mixed cut. Now, this teardrop shape has a name in French, and I don't speak French, so I'm not going to do that justice. However, it's one of my favorite shapes, and you can see here that I'm wearing a small ring with a teardrop-shaped gem on it. So I find that the round cut, as well as some of the other shapes, can be equally elegant. So next we're going to go to September, and our stone of the month for September is blue sapphire. Now, you may be thinking, blue sapphire, well, aren't sapphires always blue? Well, that's not necessarily the case. Sapphire is actually a form of corundum, and corundum is present in a whole host of different colors. Now, sapphires can come in a lot of colors, however, blue is the most common one, and that's the one that a lot of people recognize as being sapphire, because it is the most popular and according to some, the most attractive and most brilliant color. So you can see within sapphire, you have these various different colors of blue that show up within the fire, and it's really rather beautiful. And you have down below here, you can see the star sapphire, which is a cabochon cut. It's a round shape, And you can see that the way that the mineral works is when it's cut into this round cabochon shape, you get this really beautiful star pattern. And this is popular in a lot of jewelry. You can see in my necklace that I have these cabochon cut little pieces of black. Now this is just costume jewelry, so these are not expensive or precious stones. However, they are cut in this popular cabochon shape, and it is a very nice demonstration of that cut. And you can see too in my ring as well that it is a rounded shape. It looks a little bit like a drop of water. Now, again, so sapphire is a type of corundum, and another type of corundum, which is a popular stone, is actually ruby. And a lot of people don't realize that ruby and sapphire are actually very similar, if not the same stone. So ruby is the name of a dark red version of corundum. You can see here the similarities in their makeups based on the fact that the rubies can also have this star pattern that's really, really beautiful. Now ruby is often a deep red, though it can show up in other lighter colors. This deepest red is the most desirable. Now ruby is the birthstone for July. That is my birthstone, and I quite like ruby. I love the color red. And so I think it is one of the most beautiful gems. You can see that it's actually a very cool red in the sense that a lot of these fiery highlights actually almost look magenta. We'll see later a couple gems that are more of a warmer red, and so you can see in this that the cool red shape really comes through in this cut, and that it's very, very beautiful. So the next gem we're going to be talking about actually isn't a gem at all. It's turquoise. Now turquoise is the birthstone for the month of December, and now turquoise may not be considered a gemstone, but it is a very precious mineral in many places. Now turquoise, as you can see, is not commonly cut in the same shapes as other gems. It's very soft. It's a very soft stone, so it's often carved again into these round cabochon shapes, as well as other things like statuettes. Now this statuette, this elephant carving, is a Chinese carving, and you can see that this particular piece of jewelry is a Navajo piece of jewelry. So you can see the presence of this mineral pretty much, all over the world. There are, cultures that utilize turquoise for its beauty. So, turquoise is one of the easier minerals to acquire. So if you were born in the month of December, you're in luck because turquoise can be very easy to find in a normal market. Now, next we're going to move to February. And February's birthstone is amethyst. Now, a lot of people are very familiar with amethyst because it has its trademark purple color. And you can see here that this is a very lovely piece. It's very clear. Amethyst is present in both these gem cut formats as well as these points that are very similar to quartz. And the ancient Greeks had a myth that the god Dionysus, who was the god of wine, when his tears hit a piece of quartz, it turned it purple, turning it to amethyst. Now the Greeks were actually not that far off because amethyst is actually a form of purple quartz. Now that's why you get these similar points to quartz. A lot of people like to use quartz and amethyst in spiritual practices. I personally have an amethyst necklace myself. I am not wearing it right now, but maybe in the future I can show that. So you can see here that you get a lot of range with amethyst, from this almost red color to more of a red violet, and then in this square cut piece here you have a blue violet. So amethyst comes in a variety of colors, and it's one of the more well-known birthstones. So again, that is for the month of February, and it often coincides very perfectly with a lot of the colors present in Valentine's Day. So you get a lot of pinks and reds and purples and things like that. So it works very well if you're like to be color coordinated. So now my next gem is the birthstone for October, and that's opal. Now, opal is one of my favorites simply because of the amount of colors in it. Now, You will see that I am in fact wearing an opal ring. However, my opal ring is actually synthetic. It's a type of synthetic opal called dragon's breath. And you can see when I move it around in the light, you can see the play of the different pinks and the blues and the purple. So again, that is a synthetic opal. It's a glass opal. And those are very common because these real precious opals can be very, very expensive, simply because they are very colorful and very beautiful, and the way they play off the light shows off a lot of those colors in a way that's really, really pretty. Now you'll notice the way that they're cut is often in these rounder shapes. Opals are not cut to have facets like a lot of other gems, but they're cut in this cabochon cut to keep that sort of fire and brilliance and preserve a lot of these colors. And so they sparkle best in this round cut, and they're really rather beautiful. So next we're going to go to the month of March. So the birthstone for March is Aquamarine. Now Aquamarine is another one of my personal favorites along with Ruby and Opal, simply because I adore the color. Aquamarine, of course, is named after the color of, that shows up in these gems. It is a very, very clear light blue, and it's very, very beautiful. Another ancient Greek story, which is another side study of mine, is that the ancient Greeks actually used to use aquamarine in their sort of carvings and things to put the god Poseidon, who was the god of the sea, and sailors would take these carvings with them in an attempt to keep themselves safe and appease the god of the sea on their long journeys. So you can see here that this blue is very, very beautiful blue, along with this lovely almost sea green. Now if you look at this, it almost looks like the ocean with waves. If you look at these colors, and this is what you call a prismatic crystal, which means that, as you can see, it is in the shape of a prism with these more angular, more geometric shapes, and it's not polished and faceted like this example. Now you can see Aquamarine also has a cat's eye variety that can be polished into that same round shape, and it can be similar to a star, sapphire, or ruby, but as opposed to having a star pattern, it has a cat's eye pattern. So you can see this one way that the light will move across the thing here, and it's very beautiful when it moves around in the light. So next we're going to go to another popular gem, which is emerald. Now emerald is made very popular by the Wizard of Oz at the Emerald City, and this actually is called an emerald cut. And now the emerald cut was actually invented specifically to show off the brilliance of the emerald. And so when you see a gem in this shape, it is called an emerald cut. It is used in other gems now, but it was created specifically for the emerald. Now, you will see that it is a very beautiful, cool green, and it can be, you can see by this picture, anywhere from very dark to sort of a medium grass green, as well as a lighter, almost yellow green. Now, I will show you later a gem that is more of a yellow green than this, and we can do a side-by-side comparison if you'd like. You can see now that the emerald is a very cool green, and a lot of these emeralds actually come from Africa and the Middle East. So that's where these are mined, and they were very popular in Egypt, and the ancient Egyptians thought that they were representative of life, which is emphasized by their green color. And so our next birthstone is January. It's Garnet. Oh, by the way, emerald is the birthstone for May. So our next gem is Garnet, which is the birthstone for January. And you may see the word almandine and get a little bit thrown off by that. However, almandine is actually the name of this red color of garnet. So garnet can come in a wide variety of colors, but almandine is the one that has this dark red that's most commonly associated with the gem. So again, there's no specification that says that the January birthstone has to be a red garnet, this deep red, sort of almost blood red almandine color. However, I decided to go over this one as the January birthstone because it was the most popular. And you can see here that garnet can be carved as well into these sort of round shapes, these cabochon shapes, And this is actually really brilliant in these clear gems because, as you can see, it almost looks like a drop of liquid. That's sort of the degree of clarity and shine that it has to it, and it's really, really beautiful. So the next gem we're going to be talking about is Peridot. Now, Peridot is sometimes called Peridot. Both pronunciations of the name are actually correct. However, it depends on what region you're from. I personally prefer the pronunciation Peridot because it comes from the French Peridot, and so that OT sound is pronounced O as opposed to OT, like it is in the English language the majority of the time. So I find that the pronunciation Peridot for me feels more correct, but both are technically correct. So you can see when you look at Peridot that it has this lovely yellow-green color, as opposed to the cool green of emerald. The green shades in Peridot tend to be more of a yellow-green. And you can see that they range in this crystal form from a very light yellow-green all the way to almost a very dark, what we would normally think of as being emerald green. So you can see there's a lot of variations even in this lighter colored piece here. And this teardrop shape is another one of my favorite cuts, Peridot being the birthstone for August. It's very popular in jewelry because of its brilliant color and its ability to be cut in many different shapes and still be very beautiful. So Peridot is a relatively soft gemstone. And by soft, I don't mean that, you could make marks on it with your hands, but in terms of cutting it is softer than something like a diamond, which is the hardest. So next we'll move to November, and the birthstone for November is Topaz. Now a lot of people think of Topaz as traditionally being a very yellow stone. However, the yellow that you normally would think of is actually a yellow sapphire. Topaz as a stone, when it is more yellowish, it tends to be more of a chocolate. It's very similar to the shades of the chocolate diamonds that have become very popular. And you can see on this side here that topaz actually comes in many different colors. This pink topaz here is one of my personal favorites. It's extremely rare and extremely valuable. However, the color is so absolutely stunning that it remains one of my favorites. Blue topaz here, which is a very similar color to aquamarine. And this crystal as well is a red topaz. You can see the crystalline sort of almost a geometric crystal point shape. And so this topaz is from Brazil, this particular piece up here. And this is more similar to the yellow tones that you normally think of when you think of topaz. However, you can see in the darkness of the shadows that it does have these very chocolate brown undertones that make for a very beautiful, almost a more neutral colored stone because it has this fire and vibrance and life in it. However, it's not what you would traditionally think as a jewel tone color. The chocolate color remains very beautiful and very popular in jewelry. So for our last birthstone, we'll be talking about Pearl, which is the birthstone for June. So pearls, as you can see, are most commonly found strung together. Now pearl as a birthstone is actually not a stone at all. If you're not familiar with pearls, they're actually an organic material formed by oysters. And so when you think about pearls and the pearl in the center of the oyster, that's actually absolutely true. That's how they're found. And so you can see that pearls can come in a variety of shapes and sizes and colors, of course dictated by the fact that they are organic. And so it can be hard to find pearls that are all the same size. So pearls that are strung together like this, or like this necklace down here, or it can be very expensive just because of the organic nature of pearls. It makes it hard to find ones that are similar size and color. And you can see here that they have a variety of purposes. This is inlaid in a comb. You can see here these lovely pink pearls, as well as these whiter pearls inlaid in this owl, and the more champagne colored pearls down here. Now, pink pearls are naturally occurring. They are very rare, which means that they can be rather pricey. However, the rarest pearls are the black pearls. They are, of course, very expensive because you can see their dark color. It makes them very rare. And if you can see in this picture, the black pearls, though they are darker, they continue to have that lovely sheen and luster to them that something like a white pearl normally has. And so I personally am a fan of the pink pearls. I think they're very beautiful and I love the color. It's very soft. And I find that they go nicely with these champagne colored pearls. The black pearls are of course a favorite. A little pop culture, reference there is that the Black Pearl, the ship in Pirates of the Caribbean, the only ship that had black sails. So you can see that the blackness of that ship was a rarity as well as the black color of these pearls. So you can see that there are many, many birthstones. The 12, of course, for the 12 months. And though pearl is not a stone at all, it is one of the more beautiful ones, despite the fact that it does not cut in facets like a lot of the other stones. You can see that it does have the capability of being extremely beautiful in jewelry and accessories. And so you can see here that this is how pearls are harvested. They call it pearl farming. All these clams are actually producing pearls here, and they are harvested later. So that is an overview of the birthstones. This book, of course, is one of my favorite reference books. It is a Smithsonian Guide to Gems. I love the Smithsonian books, and I love them as reference materials for a lot of my favorite things. I've been very interested in geology, and I would love to make another appointment with you to talk about more birthstones. If you want to hear about a specific stone, I can do an episode about a stone on its own. Or if you want to hear about other categories of stones, we can definitely talk about that too. So if you enjoyed this, definitely let me know and we can talk about more stones or we can talk about other stuff too. I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are. And I hope that this finds you well, and I hope you enjoyed our little talk about gemstones because they are very beautiful. I hope you enjoyed looking at the images, and I hope you have a good day and or good night. I'll see you next time.